Here I go, here I go, here I go. Yeah, here I go, here I go.
Welcome in everybody to another episode of The Take. I'm your host Jackson Burleson, of course, and in today's episode, I'm joined by my boy Ashton. He is back on the pod. Let's get it. We got the Cardinals and Georgia gear, so obviously that's the fan.
Yeah, you let me bring my toys.
I got my Super Bowl rings up here somewhere, all 5 with the Cowboys. But
Yeah, I'm looking for my Super Bowl rings.
I wasn't alive for any of those. I wasn't alive for any of those, but we were alive for...
Never again, in 4 years.
No.
I doubt LeBron will still be playing. I mean, Steph might not be playing,
No, this is Steph's first Olympics.
Right.
So this is pretty much like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
He showed out. He showed out. That shot over Wembanyama, man, is just so cold, cold.
And he's 6'2", and Wemby's like 7'5".
Yeah, it's tough. He's the greatest shooter of all time, and he showed it on the world stage, right? So I think that was really it was a really special moment in time.
Dude, so he had 36 points as well in the game. He hit 9 threes against Serbia, and that's the second most points in an Olympic game behind Carmelo, 37. But yeah, Curry has also a chance to get 4,000 threes this year for the NBA.
Ooh.
First player ever.
Wow.
But I think he can get it.
He should get there this year, and if he doesn't this year, he can do it next year. You know what I'm saying? He'll be there. He'll get there.
Dude, he's going to be like 1,000 threes ahead of Ray Allen.
We're lucky that we grew up in the era of basketball that we did, because we've seen, it sucks we didn't get to see Michael Jordan and those guys back in the day, but we grew up in a very great time for basketball.
Yeah,
a lot
I
of
agree.
great players.
I agree. And the international game is getting good too, so it's exciting to watch. And I was hyped. When Curry hit that 1 3, I think it was his last 3 in the gold medal game, he was like fading away. I'm like, dude, no way this goes in. And then he makes it. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not surprised. I mean, he's been doing that his whole life.
I think that's something that made this year's team special, is that every team they played had really good players. It wasn't like these guys have played together all their life, so they're really good like how it used to be. It was like, hey, these guys are legit MVP caliber players on different teams. As good as America's team was, it wasn't a shoo-in that they were going to win.
Well, yeah, I would say that because of the international players.
Because, I mean, if you look to Canada's roster, and they didn't even make it.
They had 10 NBA.
But Canada's roster, France's roster, Serbia's roster, it was really good.
Yeah, every single roster had like a few NBA players on it at least. Like, you can't say that. Like, to give some perspective before we move on here, the Dream Team played like 9 NBA players. This team played like over 60. So like a big difference.
Yes.
And also Jason Tatum didn't play that much, so I'm actually kind of happy about that.
Yes, me too. I think you had to relax after a long run, I guess.
Yeah, it's okay, but
Fun kids, I guess.
we're done with basketball. This is the last time I'm talking about basketball.
No more basketball.
College football.
It's all about football. Woo!
Let's go. College football is back.
That's
and we've got a lot of stuff.
We do.
It's too much. So there's a lot of newness this year in college football. We got the 12-team playoff. We also got 5 teams who can actually get an automatic ticket, kind of like March Madness. They win their Power 5 conference. So I wanted to kind of ask you, we've got the 12-team playoff. We also got the conference realignments with a bunch of different teams moving around. Which one should you be more excited for?
Well, real quick, let me step into something you said. You said it's 5 locks for 5 Power 5 conferences. That's not entirely true. The Pac-12 champion doesn't make it in automatically. It's a group of 5 team or the Pac-12 champion.
Or the Pac-2.
The Pac-2. It's still called the Pac-12, unbelievably enough. Yeah, it's crazy that those teams didn't go independent. But I do think the 12-team playoff, that's going to lead into my answer. And it's because of how much craziness we can see now. I love that a group of 5 team gets an automatic bid in now. The teams like the UCFs of the past and the Boise States and all those great teams that everyone swears up and down would have made a great run. Well, now they're gonna be there and they're gonna get the opportunity. I love that. I would love to see a Boise State, and they got a good roster this year. I'd love to see a team like Boise make a crazy run in there. But not just that. I love the first round. There's 4 teams of the bye, and then the next 4 all get a home playoff game.
Yeah,
that is going to be so awesome.
That is actually cool. I like that a lot. And to go back to your point of like the Power 5, like there isn't a Power 5, but apparently it says 5 conference champions ranked the highest by the College Football Selection Committee, plus the next 7 highest ranked teams. So that, I don't know what conference is going to be thrown in there though. Like since the Pac-12 is not there, but it's still a conference. Like That's the weird thing. It's like still there.
Considering the whole group of 5 a conference.
I mean, that's how I saw it. I saw 5
do get in because in NCAA in the new EA college football game, there's always a Sam Houston in there or a somebody in there to really mess.
Maybe that'll make it interesting.
I think it will because those teams I think can beat a good team. I don't know if they can beat 4 of them on the way to a national championship, but they could beat a very good team, and I think it'll make it very, very interesting.
And to answer my own question, you said you're more excited about the 12-team playoff.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm more excited about the conference realignments. Like, I think the 12-team playoffs obviously cool. Like, it gives teams opportunities, but we're going to see new rivalries. Mm-hmm. We're also going to see, like, teams play it in environments that we've never seen. Like, we're going to see Texas at Michigan this year. Like, that is an insane game.
It is.
That's a crazy game, dude.
Oregon, Ohio State. It's going to be played every year now.
And then you've got so many other teams like SMU, Stanford, and Cal are in the ACC.
The ACC has a lot of changes. Every conference has a lot of changes, and it will make it more interesting. It is as impractical as it is to have Stanford fly out to play Virginia. It is cool, right? And that's what we want. We want it to be cool. We want it to be exciting. So it is awesome in that way. There's some problems with it, but it as it goes on, as the years go on, we'll get used to it, and we'll really, I think we're right on the dawn. We're right on the edge of the best college football we've ever seen.
I also think, like, I know it's been like you have to go undefeated to get in, dang near. But I think now it's like even more important to like win all of your games because there's more teams in each conference now.
Right.
So like you have more competition that you didn't have previously.
And you want that first round bye because you don't want to play a team that might have stumbled at the beginning of the season but got hot at the end of the season. Now it doesn't matter how good you were, you got to play them now. And that's a gap that you didn't have to jump earlier in the last year's playoff. Now you might have to play a really hot team at the end of the season that really shouldn't be there because they're 2 losses at the beginning. They're in now because you stumbled earlier.
And I'm honestly like kind of like I'm not like confused why they have like bowl games as like the semifinals still, but at the same time I wish like if they're gonna have home games for every other team, the number 1 team should at least like get a home game because they earned it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that would be kind of cool to just.
Well, would you rather have a home team game or would you rather have a bye? I'd rather have the bye. Like I said.
Well, no, I'm talking about like since the byes already happened.
Oh,
they're just home like in the.
Then it
byes.
becomes bowl games.
Yeah, it's just the same bowl game. It's just at Georgia. Like if it was number 1,
right,
and they're playing another team. Like I would have think that would be cooler.
Definitely takes a little bit away from bowl games, but yes, I agree with that. And it could have been all home teams for the first 2 rounds, and then go into the 4 teams again. Then the bowl games start, and I think that would have been. I like that idea. It would have been neat to see. But.
Yeah, I think that would have been cool. And the 5-team conference thing, like apparently. Like if you're not ranked in the top 12 and you win like a Power 5 conference or something like that, you'll get put into the 12th spot automatically. Mm-hmm. So you'll jump you'll jump a 12th team who maybe didn't win their conference. So
sure, an 8-4 team that's somehow snuck into a conference championship could be in the playoff, even though no matter what they did, no matter what their resume looks like, no matter what, as long as they win that conference championship game in a Power 4 conference.
And I don't even know why they're still calling it like the Power 5. Like, I mean, I think it's because it's technically still there, so you technically have to still call it that.
Right.
Because they labeled it as the Pac-2, which is like so sad, dude.
But could you imagine if Oregon State or Washington State just gets an automatic bid just for winning their, like they could go 1-11 and then they beat Oregon State, so now Washington State's in the playoffs like that. They can't have it like that. So
no, the possibilities are literally like. I feel like there's endless with this. Like anything can happen. Like every team has an opportunity now. Florida State won't get snubbed, hopefully. But let's move on to the AP poll. The top 10 is out. We've got your Dogs,
Go Dogs,
at number 1, and then my Noles are at number 10. Mm-hmm. And then we've also got a couple teams filtering in around that. Ohio State is ranked 2. Oregon State is 3rd. Texas is 4th. Alabama is 5. Ole Miss at 6. And then Notre Dame, I really actually like Notre Dame a lot at 7. Penn State at 8, and then Michigan at 9. So it's a very interesting top 10. So if you had to pick one team that won't be in this top 10 by the end of the season, which one are you picking?
I hate to say it like this, but Penn State's definitely the one that's standing out to me. They kind of stand out like a sore thumb. I think they, not saying they don't have the roster for it, or they don't have the dogs in less of a term. But I just think they're the team that they have to go through a gauntlet in the Big Ten, and they're the lesser of those Big Ten teams that you named. And I think that's going to have an effect on them. They've always been that, or at least the past 10 to 15 years, they've always been the little brother to Michigan and Ohio State. Well, now you got Oregon in there, and I don't think Washington's going to have this kind of run this year, but you got Washington in there now. I just don't see Penn State still being there. Alabama could not be in there at the end of the year again, and not even because of they got a lot of change. I don't think Alabama's going to be bad, but I think they have a really tough schedule, and that's going to maybe hamper them. Not saying they're going to be out of the playoff, but out of the top 10, I could definitely see 3 or 4 losses. Not too crazy if you look at their schedule.
I'm going to go a different direction here. I'm going to still stay in Big Ten, but I'm going to go Michigan. Okay, I'm going to go Michigan. We still don't know who their quarterback is going to be. It's probably going to be Jay Orji, most likely, because he's running all over the place. He looks like the starter, but no one on this Michigan team quarterback-wise, has experience.
Right.
So that's kind of where I'm at. Penn State has an established guy. They got Alar there.
Alar, yeah.
So he's all good, and he only threw 2 interceptions last year. So
they lost both their edge rushers last year to the draft. So
they did. And Michigan lost
everyone.
Literally 24% of their offense is returning this season.
Yep.
47% of their defense is returning.
It's tough.
It's not great.
But I think they got the recruits in there that Penn State doesn't. That's where my difference in that. But no, definitely a good pick. That would have been, if I would have had to pick one more, they definitely would have been Michigan.
But Michigan hasn't been
so much uncertainty.
Insane at recruiting. I mean, They just develop well.
That's true.
And I feel with Harbaugh not there, I feel they're going to take a step back. And they also have the 6th hardest schedule in college football. They play so many tough teams. And I don't think they're better than Texas. I don't think they're better than Oregon. And I don't think they're better than Ohio State. So that's 3 losses guaranteed for me right there. So I'll say Michigan. But they can get in the playoffs.
For sure.
There's a world where they can, but right now I think they just lost too many guys. I mean, returning 36% of your production from last season, that's not good.
That's tough.
And the championship hangover, I feel that's inevitable with no quarterback. That's
well, their quarterback, they'll say no quarterback because
it's uncertain.
That guy could step in and beat.
But they're unproven. Everyone else, I feel everyone else in the top 10 at least has a quarterback that has proven themselves.
And that's what's dominated college football over the past, since COVID, has been these veteran teams. And veterans, a loose word, but 5th-year starters, 6th-year starters. Those have been the teams that have made big runs, like TCU a couple years ago. It was all veterans who really should have been.
Right. They started unranked that year too.
Yes, and so I think that's going to be, if anything, that's going to be Michigan's biggest problem, is that they have the least amount of veterans and the least amount of leadership, but they still got some guys, man. They have some really good guys. I expect that defense to still be very.
They also have playmakers at the receiver position.
Yes.
I just wonder, are the quarterbacks going to be able to put them in positions to be able to, make things happen after the catch?
With their schedule, I think that makes a lot of sense. I don't think they're going to be able to win the big games that they need to win, at least at the beginning of the season. That might change by the time the big game starts. By the time the game happens, that might be different, but
man,
we'll see.
Which conference are you the most excited to see unfold with these new teams?
Thank you for asking me that. The ACC, y'all, look at the ACC.
Yay!
ACC, yeah, be excited all you want. The ACC has great teams in there now, because I think Miami really has a team to make a run this year. Cam Ward transferred in. Damian Martinez.
Cam Ward is good, yeah.
From Oregon State was really good last year. I think he'll be very good in Miami. Another team, NC State, man. NC State has a great roster this year. Grayson McCall transferred from Coastal, and they got Kevin Concepcion is his name. And that guy, I'm telling you, he is the truth. He might be the best receiver in college football. I'm willing to say that. I'm not saying he is. I think he could be, though. And so that team's very good. Louisville's got a lot of guys coming back. Obviously, Georgia Tech, I think, is going to take a big step this year, but it is a murderer's row in the ACC. And I think these teams are just going to, I don't think there'll be any undefeated ACC teams. I think, though, they're all going to beat up on each other all year, and it'll probably end up only having 1 or 2 teams in the playoff, but they probably should have more because of how good that conference is. North Carolina's got good players, too.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I know Notre Dame's not in the ACC, but they
are in basketball.
They dang near are, because they play an ACC schedule Like, they have so many teams on their schedule that play in the ACC. Like, Florida State, that's a game that I'm going to be circling on my calendar and seeing what they can do. But I'll bring up, since I'm talking about Notre Dame, that's the team I like the most. Like, that's like a sleeper to me.
Yeah.
I think Riley Leonard coming in from Duke, that's a huge acquisition in the offseason because Sam Hartman left, so you got to fill that. And then they picked up this guy from FIU, Chris Mitchell, dude.
Okay.
This guy is actually a dog. He is so fast. Like, I was watching the spring ball game, and he had this, like, little stop and go route. The corner just completely lost him.
Dang.
Completely lost him. Like, he was absolutely gone. He had like 1,000 plus yards last year and 7 touchdowns. Like, he was playing really good football. I know it's not like a high level, but he's coming in like and shredding Notre Dame's defense.
Well, we've seen a lot of transfers come from lower schools to go to these higher schools and just step right in and be good. And I think with Riley Leonard transferring in at quarterback, he was very good for Duke last year. Benjamin Morrison is their corner. He transferred also from Duke. And he is looked at as one of the most elite NFL-ready cornerbacks. So definitely Notre Dame. Definitely this is the best. Yeah, I'll say that. This is the best Notre Dame team I've seen in a hot minute.
They got a chance.
They have a very good. They have a squad. And that's something about college football this year. There's so many good teams. Like, I think the whole top 25 is going to end up being good teams. And you could probably name 40, 50 really good teams, not championship winning teams, like I said earlier, but really good teams. I think college football is in a great place right now.
I agree. And I think, yeah, Notre Dame, I feel like, is like kind of the Dallas Cowboys of college football, where they like have all the hype, but they can't like ever win. And they do have a friendly schedule. I mean, they have the 57th ranked schedule. They open up with Texas A&M at Texas A&M. So that's going to be a test. But let's go into upset alerts for week 1.
Okay.
Which team are you picking to be on upset alert for week 1 of college football?
This hurts me to say, but I think Georgia could be on upset alert week 1. Do I think they're going to lose? No. I think Georgia should go in there and deal with Clemson. However, Clemson's very good. This isn't the Georgia-Clemson game we saw a couple years ago where Georgia's defense dominated. I hope and pray that that's what happened. But I think Clemson's got a squad and they want to prove themselves after a disappointing season last year.
Right.
I could totally see Clemson going into Atlanta and upsetting the Dogs week 1 and waking up Georgia. Georgia usually starts these seasons off a little funky. They need to find their groove, and I think that could happen this year. But also, I think Georgia's also on a revenge path. I don't see that happening, but it definitely is. It's in the cards, and if Georgia does not come in ready, I definitely think Clemson could make a run on Georgia and beat them.
I mean, I kind of agree with you there. Like, I would go that direction, but I'm not. Just like kind of looking at Georgia's schedule. I mean, they've got Clemson to start, number 5 at Alabama, at Texas, at Ole Miss.
Yep.
That is tough.
It's a tough
on the
schedule.
road against 3 really elite teams.
They had a cupcake schedule last year, so this is what they have to pay their due now. It's tough, and it's hard to see. It's hard to say, like, as a betting man, would I say that Georgia's going to win all those games on the road? But I definitely think they should. I definitely think they can. They should beat Alabama, and I think they should beat Ole Miss. Now, Texas is the hard one because I think Texas is
I would agree. I would say
very good, but so is Alabama. That's in Bryant-Denny, man.
I would say probably like 2 of those matchups, Texas and Ole Miss. I would say those 2 quarterbacks can really make some damage.
Well, all 3.
Jalen Miller can, of course, but I'm talking about like
Georgia
throwing the
really-
football. Jackson Dart,
Right, Jackson Dart,
so good.
One of the better quarterbacks.
He's
in college football.
amazing. And then Quinn Ewers, he's coming back. He wants that national title. Like, he's for
sure.
Texas is motivated this year.
For sure.
I feel.
And I
But-
think their questions on defense, though. That just real quick.
Yeah.
They struggled last year with the secondary, and I didn't do much this offseason to fix that with the portal. They lost a lot of guys up front. They had 2 D tackles that were very good, and Trevondre Sweat and Myron Murphy. And those guys are gone. They brought some great guys in. They brought an edge rusher in from UTEP. And so
Oh yeah, I did see that guy.
he's pretty good.
He's good.
Very good. Joel Klatt said he was going to be the best player on their defense this year, or he thinks. So they should be good, but if you're going to beat Texas anywhere, that looks like that's going to be their biggest weakness. And I think Georgia can take advantage of that.
Because if they win out, I mean, they're guaranteed number
Yeah,
one.
well,
It's not even close.
Georgia could lose to Alabama and Texas and still make the playoff. I think that's still realistic, and I think that it could happen. But I don't think any of these teams, all the top SEC teams, have some leeway now. You can lose a game or two.
You can.
And still be good. All you gotta do is win the SEC championship. But even if you lose that, it's like,
Well, if you win that, I mean, that's like the prizes of prizes. Like,
Right.
that's the best conference in college football. So, like, especially, it's very top heavy, too.
yes.
And I feel like Big Ten and SEC, maybe it's closer than what I personally think, but I think I'll give the SEC the edge.
I think SEC is more well-rounded than the Big Ten, and I think that's where it is. If you're talking about the top of the top, it's very close. But if you're talking about well-rounded, I mean, name a team that's not Vandy in the SEC that can't win 6 games this year. Oh, I got one. Florida, man. That schedule Florida has.
They got the toughest schedule.
Florida has
the
one
country.
free win, and it's Samford. If you look at Florida's schedule, I can convince myself that they go 1-11 this year. Just look at it, and you're going to say it's because I'm a Georgia fan, but look at the schedule and tell me that you see. Paul Feinbaum said they're a 7-5 team.
Wow.
I'm like, where are their 7 wins at? I want pointing out 7 wins.
With the toughest schedule in college football, and they're not even a hyped up team this year. They weren't good last year. They're bringing back the exact same quarterback who struggled against really good teams.
Graham Mertz ain't it.
He's not the guy at all.
Oh, they're good guy. Trevor.
And they lost Trevor Etienne.
I mean,
That's a huge loss.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be tough for Florida this year. So, okay, we'll take Which is crazy because Florida's a blue blood, but
Well, obviously with the flag behind me, I'm not talking about Florida Gators for another second.
yeah,
But-
me too. I'm not a big Florida Gators fan.
I'm going to talk about Florida State because we talked about upset alert. I'm putting my Florida State Seminoles on upset alert week
they should
one
be.
because one, Georgia Tech it's a close ACC rivalry. Okay, like they literally are only trailing the all-time series 11-14 against Florida State, and there's been one tie. So it's pretty even when we play them. Last time we played them, we destroyed them, but the time before that, I don't.
And perhaps a player in the college football playoff and the 29th consecutive conference win. Blocked, snuffed, rubbed out, erased. And Georgia Tech with an opportunity. Austin still on his feet. One man. You can't believe what just happened. What a time to be alive.
That was bad. That was the kick six that just absolutely broke our season. But I will literally say Florida State, outside of the quarterback position with DJ Uiagalelei, I feel like there's a lot of question marks just on that offensive side of the ball. Like, I know they've got like playmakers. Like, they also have their running back. He's like a fifth-year senior. So I think he can come in and do some damage, but I think it's just going to have to be a lot of good coaching, a lot of good discipline, because I just don't think we're as talented as we were last year. I mean, we lost a lot of guys to the NFL, just like Michigan did. So I'm going to put us on episode alert. And season openers, we're only 16-8 in season openers in the last, 24 years. So, I mean, that's not good. Like, that's kind of like, and the last time we lost, a huge season opener, every time we come in as a top 10 team, I'm nervous. Because I remember, go back to 2017, we're supposed to be a good team, and then we lost. Our quarterback got hurt, which literally wearing DeAndre Francois' jersey. That's the crazy part. But that's every year when we're ranked high. Last year, we dominated the opening game. I feel like this year could be different, but I hope not. I really hope not.
Yeah, I think that Georgia Tech has a lot of. I think they're a dangerous team. Last year they beat ranked North Carolina, who I think was. I could be wrong. They might have had one loss, but I'm pretty sure they were undefeated at the time. Oh man, I'm struggling right now. But
they were playing well. Like the game against Louisville at the beginning of the season, they blew that game. They should have won that game, but they were playing good enough.
Then they got blown out by Bowling Green. But they won. They were very close in every ranked game they played, besides Clemson. And they had Georgia on the ropes at the end of the year. Now Georgia pulled away at the end, but Georgia Tech was winning till halftime in that game. Well, Georgia Tech's a real deal. Under Brent Under Brent Key, they've been a different team than they were before. And that's why I'm saying the ACC is just such a murderer's row, man. I don't see Georgia Tech making the playoffs or nothing. They got 4 or 5 losses on schedule. But, I mean, they're legit. They can go into, is it a neutral site game?
It's in Ireland.
Oh, that's right. It's in Dublin. How did I forget? It's in Dublin. Yeah, it's week 0.
Yeah,
so
dude.
who knows what could happen?
That's what I'm saying, dude.
It's in.
That's why I'm putting us on episode alert.
Guys
It's
gotta
not at
go
home.
across the ocean. One team can be fired up. One team can be experiencing jet lag. It can be a murder. It can be 40-0 to Florida State. It can be 45-0 Georgia Tech. It is that big, and the talent difference is there. Florida State is more talented and should win the game.
They should. We should.
But
We should.
Georgia Tech's that offense is very good. I think Haynes King's going to take a big step. Christian Leary, transfer from Alabama, very fast. He's going to be dominating in the slot this year, I believe. Jamal Haynes is a great running back. Georgia Tech's got a great squad, and I think, I think that game's going to be very
I
close.
feel like our schedule is like not really catered for us to lose this game because we only play 3 ranked teams this year. So we can't. I don't think we really can lose. I mean, we've got Clemson, Miami, Notre Dame. 2 of those games are on the road.
Ooh, if you lose to Georgia Tech and then win out, I mean, who cares? You know what I'm saying? Who cares? You get hot. When's the Notre Dame game? Do you have the date on that?
Yeah, I do. It's November 9th.
So it's a little bit later in the. Well, actually, it's pretty early.
And it's at Notre Dame.
It'd be a little bit later.
So it's not going to be like, it'll be cold, but it won't be like crazy.
Right, but you should. That's what my point is that Florida State should be gassed up and ready to go by that point in the season, and I think that they should be able to. I mean, Notre Dame's a good game. That's gonna be a tough game, but
I know.
They should be ready by then. If they're not ready week 1, that's my point. Don't panic. But who knows? They might be, like I said, they might be Georgia Tech by 50. So we might be talking about nothing right now.
Maybe. Maybe. We lost. I'm not going to bring it.
We will find out.
I'm not. Okay, let's move on to our picks. Okay. GB's picks. These odds are courtesy of Hard Rock Bets. Ashton, please tell me, why is Hard Rock Bets only at Bet in Florida? Like, it's so crazy to me.
Do you want the actual answer, or do you want?
Well, I know the real answer.
Do you want the answer?
I know the real answer, but like, why is it so crazy?
It stinks because I like Prize Picks. I used Prize Picks for a long time, and then now I just can't. I have money sitting in Prize Picks I can only use when I go back home out of Florida. So it kind of stinks. But it is cool that we have an actual sports book down here. You know, in Georgia, we don't have a sports book. So it's nice that we have one. Obviously, the Hard Rock Seminole Clan kind of runs the casinos down here. So they got whatever. You're a big Braves fan over here. They got... Sorry, how am I supposed to laugh? Anyways, you get it. Everyone gets it. Do your own research. I'm not answering that question, okay? Jeez Louise. Do your own research. It's pretty simple on why we can only bet on Hard Rock.
Don't be so mean to our audience, dude.
It's lame though, because I wouldn't be able to use Prize Picks.
If you guys want information, I'll put a link to some article in the bio because he's like, go find it yourself. I'll help you a little bit, okay? But so you can't bet on anything else, so we have to use this. But
yes,
I got 2 picks today. Okay. I want you, when I give you these 2 picks, I want you to pick which one you think is better. Okay. So I'm going with -140 over 5.5 wins for the Colorado Buffaloes. I think the first 4 games, first 5 games, they don't even play a ranked opponent. So I think they can easily get 5 wins, but that UCF game is going to be the tough 5th win. Because after that, they have a gauntlet of a schedule. They play 5 ranked teams in their last 7 games after UCF. That is going to be tough. Like the beginning of the season, they better get their wins because I think they're going to have a hard time getting that 6th win. I think they can. They play Nebraska and Cincinnati in there in the middle of those 5 games with the ranked teams, but I'm going to go over 5.5 for the Buffaloes.
I like over 5.5 because I like 6. I don't like 7. I like 6. So thank God it's 5.5, not 6. Because that's the thing about Hard Rock is they're like right on it with these lines. Every line they have is like, well, that's what I think. I'm not betting on that because it's exactly what I think. And I think we're going to find out a lot about Colorado week 1. That North Dakota State game is not an easy game.
They're good.
It should not be considered an easy game.
They really are.
That is going to be if it's close and Colorado wins, I think you should start getting a little worried. Colorado, if they want to be different this year, they should win that game by 14. But that's a tough game. That is no easy. That'll show like, okay, hey, this Colorado team, They might not be a championship contender, but this is a legit good team.
Does like the 43 transfers they got like change your mind on them a little bit?
No. I don't think. I think Colorado's about a 6 or 7 win team, but that's no disrespect. That's just their schedule's hard and they still have a lot of holes. They're still trying to build this roster up, and it sucks because about to lose a lot of talent this year. But I think they're going to be after this year. But I think they're still going to be they're building the program back up. They're rebuilding the right way.
No, they are. I mean, they were
this
terrible.
is a good rebuild.
It's a good rebuild.
But I think 6 wins should be what they're shooting for. Maybe 7. I know some people out there are going to be all honest, some 9 or 10 wins, but I don't.
So if they have,
I think 12 is better than people think. That's all I'm saying.
so if they have like 7 wins, 6 wins, that doesn't put Dion on the hot seat. That's
No,
it.
there's no way they put Dion on the hot seat. Dion's the best thing that's happened to Colorado since 1990.
Yeah.
They won a championship that year. Or they shared a championship with Georgia Tech that year. It's funny, weird little thing. I don't know why college football was like that back then. But they did share a college championship.
Well, was it because it was there was no BCS?
I mean, there was no national championship.
Yeah, so you couldn't really have like one.
So you would.
champion.
Well, that's a flawed system. Okay, that's why they changed it.
It's better now. It's better with the
It
12
is
team.
better now.
It is.
But anyways, yeah, Dion's the best thing that happened to them. They wouldn't. They'd have to go like 2-10, 0-12 to not, and they won't. So I mean, he's fine. He's got his job next year. He's rebuilding. He's bringing in 4 and 5 stars. What else do you want if you're Colorado? You know.
And he still got the foundation with Hunter and
Right.
George.
And those guys all leave if Dion's gone.
That's
so
true.
No, they won't fire Dion, at least not for a couple more years, unless it goes. I came on here and said the same thing about Bill Belichick last year, so who knows? But it would have to be very bad. Let's say it that way.
Like they would have to like almost repeat what they did last year, like winning 4 games.
Even
I feel like.
then, I feel like it's still worth it to keep Dion just for the recruits. Like I mean,
he's.
I'd bring in better coordinators at that point. If I'm the athletic director, I'd be like, okay, Dion, you're still there. You're still the figurehead, if anything less. And we're going to bring in these other guys who actually can coach football a little bit better. If that were to, I'm not saying Dion can't do that. I'm just saying if that were to happen, that would be their move, not firing Dion, because then Colorado goes back to irrelevancy if they lose Dion.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. Preaching right there. One more pick, and then Ashton's going to have a pick. I actually let him have a pick, surprisingly, guys. I'm just kidding. But my next pick is a national championship pick.
Okay.
I'm going plus 400 for Ohio State. They got Caleb Downs at safety. That was a huge pickup.
Giant pickup.
And then they also got Quinshawn Judkins.
He's very good.
From Ole Miss.
Very good at Ole Miss.
He is really fast, and he's super elusive. I like that run game. Will Howard, I don't really know if I'm sold on him yet, but I think he's definitely better than Kyle McCord. But, I mean, if we look at their stats, I'll throw up a graphic between Will Howard and Kyle McCord's stats. It's very similar. Kyle McCord threw for a little over 3,000, but the touchdowns are pretty much the same, and the interceptions are pretty much the same. So I don't know. I feel like it's a little upgrade, but I don't know if it's that. That's the only question mark I have with Ohio State. They're going to be a really good defensive team for sure. Like I saw some guy say something like they won't allow like a touchdown in the first 4 games.
It was on McAfee. It was on McAfee. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nuts.
His face said that. COVID cowboy, whatever.
Yeah, he said that.
I heard him say that.
Hank.
And it's because their schedule is, those first 5. I think the hardest team they play is like Iowa. I do not quote me on that.
No, you're right.
That's what he
You're
said.
right. No, they play.
And Iowa is not known for scoring touchdowns on offense, at least. Let's say it that way.
Okay, so their first ranked team that they play is Iowa, and then they play at Oregon, at Penn State, and then versus Michigan.
I think that Oregon-Ohio State game might be like, there's some good SEC games, but that's that's the popcorn game. You know what I'm saying? That's rent out a movie theater to go see a game. That's a game right there, and I'm very excited for that. I was shocked when Chip Kelly he quit on UCLA head coach to be Ohio State's offense. I've never seen that before. I was like, wow. And he said it was because he didn't want to deal with the recruiting and all that. And I get it, man. I get it. Because in NCAA, I do the same thing. No, I like the recruiting. I enjoy the recruiting, but
You know what's crazy? I had Oregon here first.
I like that.
And I think Dylan Gabriel will win the Heisman Trophy. I think him in that style of offense, he's perfect. But let's get into your picks before we kind of go on a ramble here.
Can I say one thing real quick? I think Jalen Daniels of Kansas is going to win the Heisman Trophy this year. Okay.
Okay.
So what's next?
I'll go Dylan Gabriel. I'll go Dylan Gabriel.
I think he has everything in front of him to win the Heisman. He's very talented.
You don't think Carson Beck can?
I mean, he can, but I don't think he will because Georgia loves running the ball. Georgia really is going to run the ball. They're not going to stop. They're not going to be as many close games as Kansas will. Jalen Daniels, I think, is one of the most talented quarterbacks in college football, and his offensive system is very good. I think he's going to be, even though his name is very similar, he's going to be the Jaden Daniels from last year. He's going to have a huge, if he can stay healthy. He's had injury problems, but if he stays healthy, I think he's. Sorry to go off on a tangent. I thought about it when you said it, and I'm like, oh, Heisman Trophy. Like, I got a good take for this.
No, that's fine. I got my Heisman pick out there too, so it's perfect. What's your picks? What pick? I know you said you got one.
Let me pull it up because I just want to make sure I get this exactly right. So we're going back to week 0 over to Ireland as Florida State is an 11.5-point favorite. And as I've already mentioned, we have no idea what's going to happen in that game. I think if this game was played in a neutral site that wasn't so, I mean, that just changed everything in the game being in Dublin because these are college kids, not used to that kind of travel. A lot can change here. 11.5 is a lot. And I think Georgia Tech is a better team than 11. So that's my point. I'm taking Georgia Tech minus a plus 11.5 to cover that spread. They might win, they might not. But I think that them keeping it close with Florida State is very realistic. I think it's actually more likely than to keep it close than a blow. I think that was the biggest moneymaker I saw on the Hard Rock Bets app. I was like, oh yeah, I like that number a lot.
I hate that you picked against my team, but I mean plus 11.5 is not a terrible line to pick. Our pass rushers, DJ Lundy and Shaheem Brown, better get to the quarterback.
Patrick Payton too.
We better get to the quarterback. That'll make our life a lot easier, and I think we could push the spread a little bit more if we do that. So let's get into NFL. Okay. So we've got news around the NFL.
Football.
We've got a lot to talk about. I'm just going to drop it. Hassan Reddick requests a trade without practicing for the Jets. He's been requesting a trade since March. Aaron Rodgers said he wishes Reddick would reconsider. He also said he might reach out to him and give him a text message. I mean, Hassan Reddick is really, really good.
Yes.
He's a really good player. I mean, he had 1 forced fumble last season, and he had 11 sacks, which is 15th in the NFL. So he's consistently been really good. And he's had 4 seasons he had 16 sacks in 2022. So he's had multiple seasons with 10-plus sacks. So you need that guy. Yes. You need that guy on the Jets. But I think it's just stupid that you get traded and then you don't even want to play for the team. Like, shouldn't the Jets have known, like, hey,
yes,
he's not going to play when you get him?
If you don't pay him. Yes, I don't know why the Jets didn't pay him.
But he's making $14 million this year, though.
But he wants to, that was his whole point. That's why the Eagles traded him, was so he could get a new contract. So whoever trades for him, I mean, if they didn't learn from what the Jets just did, you're going to have to give him a contract. And that is kind of tough with his age. But it's a day one, maybe not elite pass rusher, but high-level pass rusher on your team. I think that's worth it. Give him a 3-year deal, give him a bunch of money, and just move out for a rebuilding team. Hate to sound like a homer, but he would fit in perfectly with Arizona. It's their biggest need easily. He was drafted by them, back with Jonathan Gannon where he has best production. I'm just saying, like a team like that.
Well, the Jets said they won't trade him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Niners said they won't trade Ayuk, and they haven't yet. Oh,
they haven't.
Wait.
Okay,
they haven't yet.
Check the phone.
I don't check. They have not traded Ayuk yet.
No, I've been waiting for that.
It'd be funny if they do it while you're editing this.
No, it would. I would be kind of upset.
Like Justin Fields.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Anyways, that's inside. That's inside.
No, so I think obviously, and I kind of downplayed the stat. So it's actually 11 or more sacks in the last 4 seasons.
Very impressive.
Hassan Reddick's had, not just 10. So he have to have him on the field.
They can't. Okay, but they can say they won't trade him all they want. But if they don't trade him, then what are you doing?
I don't know what you're doing.
You might as well, if he's not going to play, you're not going to give him a contract. Exactly.
Might as well.
Cut him or trade him. But it makes no sense not to trade him. You could recoup that 30 loss or maybe a 4th, like something close, and be like, hey, we messed up. Sometimes you have to look at the fans and go, man, we messed up. Like, we thought we could pay him, turns out we couldn't. It is what it is. Like, and it sucks because you lost Bryce Huff in offseason.
Yeah, I think that trade is pointless.
If they weren't gonna,
they literally lost a guy by trying to trade for a guy.
Why did they I guess they just don't have money for an edge rusher. I guess that's where they're at. They couldn't pay Huff, but they thought they could pay Reddick.
Because they paid Quinn Williams recently.
Well, fair enough though. Quinn Williams, I
gave him a lot too. That's probably why they can't do anything.
Right, and I'm sure Aaron Rodgers has a big cap hit, but.
man.
I would have. It makes no sense. And saying you're not going to trade him also, that makes even less sense
weird
to me because
It doesn't make. It's like I think it's stupid. But we'll move on to the next headline. JJ McCarthy, he had knee surgery. He's out for the season with a meniscus tear. Man, this is a crazy stat I'm about to put on.
right.
Only first-round QB since '67 to have a season-ending injury.
It's tough too because it wasn't even like you saw him get.
And he was good in the preseason. I thought he was 11 for 17. He had 2 touchdowns. That's not
I
bad.
got those numbers in my head.
That's not bad. I think he was creeping up to Sam Darnold, maybe.
No,
but,
he was playing backups, but
that's still what you want to see out of a guy you
exactly.
got in the first.
The Vikings fans got hope, and then that's what kills me is it wasn't even on the field. Like whenever he got hurt, we didn't see it. So just all of a sudden, it's like, hey, this quarterback played really good, and the next day, it's
And I
like,
heard he had soreness before the game,
Maybe.
like in that knee.
so he might have heard it before that game.
I think it was definitely at a breaking point where it could have been aggravated
Right.
more. I don't know.
It's really strange.
It's weird,
It
man.
really stinks. I hate it for Justin Jefferson. I really do hate it for Justin.
I feel bad, dude, because he's got to play with Sam Darnold this year. Which
Donald's gonna be all right.
Jefferson said he's confident in Darnold, so I mean, we'll see what happens. I just know Darnold's track record on the Jets, Panthers, any team he's been on, he's been garbage.
Well, he's had his moments.
He's definitely had his bad moments.
I think he showed up for he played one game for the Niners last year.
I was gonna say that, but I decided not to bring it.
And I think he was pretty decent. And that's all he needed to be this year was decent. He just needed to be decent while JJ McCarthy was being groomed. But now he's gonna have to play the whole year, so we'll see.
Hey, they signed a replacement for JJ McCarthy.
Yeah. Who was it? I remember seeing
Matt Corral.
Matt Corral, that's right. Hey,
Former
Ole
Elite
Miss.
11 quarterback in high school.
Dog at Ole Miss, man.
He was at Florida before that.
Oh, that's right. He was in Florida.
Yeah, he was. He was supposed to be the savior there, and then he just left.
Yeah,
Because he can't stand the swamp because that place is too ugly.
I wouldn't want to go to the swamp either, but it is what it is. Some people do, right? I guess.
Okay. Next headline.
Okay.
Matthew Judon got traded to the Falcons. They only gave up a 3rd-round pick to get him, and they also signed Justin Simmons.
Okay.
I'm going to go Matthew Judon being the most impactful acquisition because the Falcons have had literally no pass rush in the last 10 years. They've had I think literally since 2016. I think that was the last time they had a guy who had double-digit sacks.
Vic Beasley was the sack leader that
Yeah, that was the last guy. So I think getting Judon was big because they obviously took Penix with the 8th pick and
instead of an edge rusher.
they didn't. Yeah, they didn't go with what they needed, and now Penix is gonna be on the bench this year, which makes no sense. But I think Judon was the more impactful signing. But Simmons and Bates,
Okay.
God.
I'm going to say the same thing here that I said when you texted me that. When you texted me about Justin Simmons getting traded, I said, try throwing on a backfield of Justin Simmons, Jesse Bates,
AJ Terrell.
and AJ Terrell. Oh my goodness.
That's a good secondary.
The Falcons have finally done it. They on paper, we always got to put on paper because we never know.
Right.
But on paper, they have made their way out of mediocrity. I'm not saying they're a Super Bowl team, but they are there.
They're in win now mode.
All they have to do is get hot at the right time, and they could be a Super Bowl team. They've made the right additions. I'm not the biggest fan of the Judon trade. He's 32. He wants a contract. If they don't give him a new contract, it's a great trade. Or if they give him something like a simple.
Yeah, he's a free agent after this.
If they give him something 2 years, something simple, then cool. But if they give him a 4-year deal, I wouldn't give him.
I don't know if they will. I could see him giving them a 2-year deal or something like that, worth maybe $25 million, maybe around there
Something
for
like
2
that,
years.
maybe 30 million.
I mean, nothing crazy. I mean, you can't pay a 32-year-old pass rusher too much money.
Well, they might end up like
They might because they haven't had a guy.
They might end up like the Jets with Reddick if they don't. So they'll pay him soon. He'll get money before too long.
But they're the favorite to win the NFC South.
And they
with those
should be.
moves.
They
They
should
weren't
be. The
before that.
Buccaneers are very good. Don't get me wrong. But the Falcons, again, on paper, have the better roster. They got him beat at quarterback. They got him beat in the secondary. And now probably at edge rusher, right? So
It's perfect because the Falcons were last in sack percentage the last 3 years.
I'm not surprised.
That's horrible.
Right. That's why you draft my God, that's why
you don't draft a quarterback on the 8th pick.
That's why you draft Dallas Turner when he's there. That's why you draft Liatu Fatu when he's there.
What was seriously the point of getting Kirk Cousins if you were going to draft Michael Penix? Like, genuinely.
I don't.
There was no point.
I think they just fell in love with Penix, man. I think they were their scouting department, their GM. They just fell in love with him, man. And they're like,
He's definitely the most NFL-ready quarterback, I would say. But you didn't need him.
right. You got the most NFL-ready quarterback, and you're going to develop him.
And he's like almost 30.
But I'm not saying it's a bad move because I've seen the light. Now I see the idea. It could work, but if you were trying to win this year, I think it would have made more sense taking that. Because imagine you didn't take Penix and you got name an edge rusher in the draft, and then you also got Judon now. Then now you have 2 good edge rushers instead of one who's going to be getting double teamed the whole game. You know,
It probably wouldn't have been possible, but I wish they kept Campbell.
Calais Campbell,
Yeah, I don't know if it would have been possible because he
Miami?
wanted too much money. Where did he play?
I think he went to Miami. Because that's where he went to college.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure he signed with the Dolphins, which is a good signing for them. But he's he's up there too. He's like 38.
Yeah, Dolphins.
Yeah, he's up there too. So I kind of get why they did.
Well, they just lost Christian Wilkins, so they kind of needed a guy.
No, I feel in good. He's not Christian Wilkins,
No,
but he's
definitely
going to
not.
fill in
Definitely
what he
not.
used to be. Calais Campbell used to be a guy.
When he was on the Ravens, dude. Oh my
I
God.
mean, he was on the Cardinals, man. He was a dog.
Cardinals.
No, don't forget the Cardinals. That's when he played the best of his career. Well, maybe, honestly, when he was in Jacksonville that one year with the Saxonville team, he went crazy with Jacksonville.
That's the year they made the AFC
Yeah.
title game.
Dude, he went really. I think he had something like 16.
That was such a good
shots.
defense that year. We're getting off a tangent.
We are.
Again.
We've gone off the rails.
Who starts the majority of games this season? Russell Wilson or Justin Fields?
Russell Wilson.
I'll go with Justin Fields.
I like Justin Fields as a. Did you want to add to that?
No, I was just gonna say I think Justin Fields should be the starter just because I just feel like there's more potential there, in my opinion, for this season. He's more dynamic with his legs.
sure.
Russell's not as dynamic as he was in his prime. He's definitely came off one of his worst seasons 2 years ago.
Oh, I was going to say.
So-
Pretty good last year.
No, last year he was good, which they just gave up on him, which was stupid. But
What you want as the Steelers is.
both of these quarterbacks have issues with fumbles.
Yes.
They literally were both tied for 10th in fumbles.
Who reads a defense more better, and who would you trust more on a third down play? It's Russell Wilson is the guy. He's the safe pick.
When it comes to reading defenses, I trust
For sure.
Russell. But when it comes to running and
Making a
everything
play.
like that and extending plays, Justin.
I think Russell Wilson will get hurt at some point. And we'll see Justin.
Well, he's
Fields
already
for a week or two.
He's been dealing
Yeah.
with that calf injury.
Yeah, I
all
know,
camp.
I know.
That's why Justin Fields has been getting first team reps.
Well, maybe it will be Justin Fields. I would start Russell Wilson if we're trying to win the Super Bowl this year. If we're trying to build for the future, we start Justin Fields, and we see if he's the guy. But then why did we sign Russell Wilson? I guess you didn't have Justin Fields.
Well, not sign Russell Wilson, but why would you trade for Justin Fields if you already had Russell Wilson? Because Russell Wilson got signed first, and then they traded for Justin.
Yeah, but they gave up nothing for Justin Fields.
Yeah, was it a 6th-round
I
pick?
think it was a condition
that could turn into a 3rd-round pick or something like that.
That's next year, yeah.
Yeah,
It won't. And that's a good reason to not play Justin Fields, because you don't want to lose a 3rd-round pick next year.
Yeah, but and if he plays,
Well, either way.
I think if he plays more than 50% of games, it turns into a different pick.
And he will if something happens to Russ. But I think Russ is the safe pick. You don't lose that 4th-round pick. And he's probably going to end up. I think Russell Wilson will win you more games. He'll lose you less games. I'll say it that way. Russell Wilson will lose you less games than Justin Fields.
I
will.
feel like they're about the same, really. I mean, I feel like whoever you start, I feel like you're going to get the same result.
Russell Wilson played very good last year at points. Not all year. He did not have a complete great year, but he played better than
That one
Fields
game
last
against
year.
the Chiefs, is that where you're kind of
He
focusing on?
had a little stretch that when they went on that winning streak, he was really good. He was
Yeah, when
really
they were back
efficient.
at 500. I mean, they were.
And I think that's what you want. Yeah, I mean, the Steelers want an efficient quarterback because they haven't had that. Kenny Pickett was not that. So
horrible.
yeah, he was pretty bad. So that's where we're at. But who knows? Again, Justin Fields might take a step this offseason. That's what people have been saying. He's been very good in
I think
training.
he could, but to kind of just tie this up real quick, the fumbles to me, he had 2 fumbles last week, and he still has so many fumbles. He fumbled 10 times last season. Okay, that's not great.
But that doesn't make him a bad quarterback.
I just think with Justin, it's he fumbles when he's under center
Right.
a lot, which is his fault.
We'll
You
see.
got to clean that up.
I think it'll be very interesting, and the Steelers are definitely a more interesting team this year than they were last year, especially if they make a trade for Brandon Ayuk. I think then things get really interesting in the AFC North. Because I think right now the Steelers are like,
Yeah, that's kind of like.
they're on the edge of the worst team, if not. But that doesn't mean they're bad.
I would disagree with that.
Who's the worst team?
I'd say the Bengals.
The Bengals are the worst team.
Because
in
they
the
have
AFC North.
they have Zach Moss as their running back. They do have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, but their line is not great,
hold up.
and their
Chase
defense
Brown.
isn't good either.
Oh no, Chase Brown's going to end up getting the majority.
You like
of
Bengals? You like the Bengals defense?
like
and
the
Joe
Bengals.
Burrow, he's not. Can he stay healthy?
I guess I see what you're saying. Like, there's a world where the Bengals are like 5-12, like 5-12 this year, yeah. But they shouldn't be. I think they're kind of going all in for this year because they got Hendrickson demanding a trade and T. Higgins. So neither of those guys will probably be back next year. So I kind of think it's all about this year, and I definitely think the Bengals are going to make a run. But the AFC is,
The AFC North,
the AFC North.
that division is loaded. And they're just beating each other up all season. Like,
Let me ask you a question real quick. This is off script, off topic. Which division's better? I think the two best divisions of football are the AFC North and the NFC North. And obviously the Vikings have their struggles, but which division do you think is worse? Or better. I'm sorry, I said that wrong.
better AFC North.
So you think the AFC North is the best division of football?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's very interesting.
We've got our last headline of the day. Ashton, what is it?
So I've actually been wanting to talk to you about this for a minute, man. But how do you feel about the Cowboys' current situation? I know you got a lot about Jerry Jones on your mind, but saying he is in no urgency, he doesn't give up. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't say that, but he did say he has no urgency about the situation. How do you feel about that, man? We need CeeDee Lamb back.
Yeah, we definitely need CeeDee Lamb back. We don't have anybody else receiver-wise outside of Brandon Cooks that is a competent option at the wideout position, which is a problem. I've been hearing that CeeDee Lamb is like the offer right now is like a little under $33 million, which is like not bad, but I think he wants like to be a little bit higher, a little bit over.
How much Jefferson money?
Yeah, he definitely wants that. I think that's why it's honestly taking so long, because I think the Cowboys waited too long.
For sure.
Like, I think we should have gotten CD done way sooner, because right after the season, I think, because he broke the reception record for franchise history last year. He had 1,700 yards. Like, he was amazing last season. Pay him right after that, and then wait on Dak, because we're negotiating both of them right now. I heard CD Lamb is closer to getting done than Dak. So, I mean, it's interesting. I don't know what Jerry's doing. I don't even know why he continues to own an NFL franchise and try to be a general manager at the same time, because it doesn't work. We've seen the track record. I've said it a million times. It feels like it's on repeat. I have to keep emphasizing these things because he's just an idiot. Plain and simple idiot. You have no plan whatsoever to pay Micah Parsons, Dak Prescott, and CeeDee Lamb. Because at this point, I've been doing a lot of like searching. We should just rebuild. Because if you keep Dak Prescott but CeeDee Lamb leaves, Dak has no one to throw to. But if you keep CeeDee Lamb but you let Dak go, CeeDee Lamb has no quarterback. So you're basically wasting two players who are in their prime that are trying to win a Super Bowl now. And let's be honest, the Cowboys are not good enough to win a Super Bowl. It's like we've been in delusional land too long, Cowboys fans. We are not good enough. Plain and simple.
If you weren't last year, why would you be this year?
We got worse.
Yeah.
And people think we're going to be better. That's just not that's not the case, like, at all. We have no offensive line. This is probably the worst offensive line he's had in his career, Dak Prescott. So, I don't know. We've got a lot to figure out because, man, it's just frustrating.
Well, I love asking you about the Cowboys. It sucks no one had mentioned anything about the Cowboys needing to rebuild, I don't know, before last year or anything.
Yeah, this guy literally last year said it was a good idea. And at the time, I was like, dude, you're crazy. Like, we're good to win a Super Bowl every year.
The writing was on the wall. Like, they needed to win last year. And it's slowly getting to that point. But I do disagree with something you said about, well, if you keep CD but lose Dak, then CD won't have a quarterback. That's true. But then if you bring in a rookie quarterback, a Carson back, a Quinn Ewers, a Shedeur Sanders,
No, don't
if you do bring in something like that,
I don't want Shedeur Sanders, dude.
Fair enough. But if you do that, wouldn't you want them to have CeeDee Lamb to throw the ball to?
I mean, obviously, yeah. Like, I think the misconception of what I'm saying is like CD won't want to be there because he's not gonna be in a position to win a Super Bowl anytime soon with any of the three guys you just mentioned.
Well,
I mean, it's gonna take at least it's gonna be a developmental project. I mean, I'm not saying Carson Beck is a bad quarterback, but I don't know if he is great right away. I think it takes him till his third season to maybe be a good NFL player.
no, I think he's a Jared Goff type player. Like I think he's the most NFL ready out of all the guys in next year's draft. But
Goff had a similar trajectory where it took him a couple of seasons to get his
no, I'm not saying Carson Beck's going to win a Super Bowl the first year, but I think that he can go in and win games immediately. And it won't be as flashy as a Ewers or a Shedeur, but that's if that happened. One thing I want to say real quick is that did you see Jerry Jones got asked, oh my God.
Are you saying there's a sense of urgency as you begin the preseason to get CD done?
No.
No? Why you say that?
I'm just, I went to high school or I went to college. I don't know why I said it, but I'm just saying I don't know. I don't have a sense of urgency about getting it done.
It's in one of them. And they asked Jerry Jones, they said the same thing. Do you have a sense of urgency? And Jerry Jones goes, well, I went to high school. I went to college. Ha ha ha. Yeah, I don't got urgency. I was like, is this Joe Biden? Like, who is this talking? I've never seen, as much as you were to say Jerry Jones is dumb or Jerry Jones doesn't know what he's doing, I've never seen him seem that incompetent. He was so thrown off by the question.
I feel like he's just a confused man right now.
It's really sad.
From the inside, from the outside looking in, it looks like he just doesn't know what team he's owning.
It's really weird.
He completely lost sight of what's important. And what's important is putting a Super Bowl winning team on the field. And he did not do that. He said all in, and we didn't do anything. We lost more than we gained. We lost like 12 plus players that were on our offense and defense last year. Like, that cannot happen.
I think
two players retired. Two.
I thought you had a pretty good draft in my opinion, but
well, we got a good offensive lineman. Like Barton's Guyton, I like him.
That's right. You didn't get Graham Barton. You got Tyler Guyton. That's right.
Tyler Guyton's good.
That's right.
I think I've seen him in training camp. He's good, but the thing is, like, the Cowboys are gonna go this season without me. Even like this is gonna be me when I watch the Cowboys this year. The TV is not even gonna be on because I'm not watching them. And they can have a crapshoot of a season. It's going to be a disaster without me. Have fun, because I'm not watching this garbage.
This guy will be watching the Cowboys by week 4. Book it. Put it in the rise.
It's not happening.
Why wouldn't you want to watch your favorite team?
Because I'm tired of watching them. They, first of all, give me so much hope for a good outcome, and then when the outcome doesn't show, I lose it.
Oh, that's fair enough. I did being upset, but
You were here for the Packers game. That was not a pleasing sight.
No, it was tough. It was tough. It wasn't the most fun environment. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was like watching let me not say that.
Okay, so
like watching
I don't want to talk about mediocrity in the game of football. I want to talk about a great play that is just amazing.
Yeah, good. Okay? Yeah, screw the Cowboys, man. We're done.
So let's get in the play of the week.
Cowboys.
We do this every week here. Ashton,
yes.
Got you on to react to this play. So this is week 1 preseason. Chiefs, Jaguars. Okay. CJ Beathard is the quarterback.
Pete Hard.
Great guy, former 49er.
Former Iowa Hawkeye. George Kittle's quarterback in college.
But I want you to watch this play, and I want you to give it a rating from 1 being the worst and 10 being the best. After. Okay, so let's play it.
Chiefs with just a single high safety here on 3rd down. Beathard to throw. Pocket collapsing, turns and launches down the field. He's looking for Brian Thomas, and Thomas pulls it in at the 40-yard line with the corner and a safety coming over the top.
Yeah, so that's the play of the week.
It's the play of the week. That's what Brian Thomas does, y'all. That's what he does. That's why he's going to be so good in Jacksonville this year. I really like the throw by Beathard too, man. I was actually really impressed. I don't think I've ever seen him throw that far down.
No, that was the best throw I've seen in his entire career.
It was still underthrown a little bit, but one adjustment from Brian Thomas to catch that ball. Very good play. I can agree with you. That's probably the best play I saw in the first week of the preseason.
I'm going to give Brian Thomas Jr. his flowers. I want to give him some spotlight real quick.
Look, we're going to hear all year about Caleb Williams and about the Chiefs and Xavier Worthy and Mahomes. We're going to see that all year. So let's give some love to a rookie who was really overshadowed in the draft.
24th pick.
Really good. Who Jacksonville could really make some noise. Man, I really like this. And they're all obviously going to get less love than the Chiefs all year long. So why not show them off?
I mean, he's a good player. I mean, even with Malik Neighbors, he still had 17 touchdowns at LSU last year.
Very good at LSU.
He was putting up numbers. I mean,
Right.
It's just, yeah, I think it was just a Malik Neighbors thing.
He'll be good next to Gabe Davis this year.
Okay, before this is the last question before we end the pod.
Okay.
What's Jacksonville's ceiling to you?
I want to say AFC Championship, but man, the AFC is tough. I've never seen an AFC.
so
I've never seen a
good.
conference this good.
So good, dude.
I mean, like you said, ceiling.
Their division is really good. You've got Houston, Colts, Titans. They got better. Will Levis is going into his second season.
Sleeper team for sure.
Who'd they get besides the Darius Sneed? They got another corner. Was it oh my God.
Corner, I don't know. I know they signed Jamal Adams.
God, they signed another guy.
But their offense, I mean, you're talking about Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, who is going to miss a couple weeks. He got injured in the camp. And Levis, if he can take the step with Tony Pollard back there, Tennessee could be good. I know that wasn't the question, but yeah, no, the AFC South is good.
Yeah, Tony Pollard, man. Yeah, that's a good.
The AFC South is very good, and I think the Jaguars.
Quandre Diggs.
Oh, Quandre Diggs, well, that's a safety. Yeah, that's right. They got Diggs and Javons as their safety.
I was trying to think of who they picked up. I knew it was a Seahawks player.
Right.
I didn't know exactly who.
That's a good team. Then you can't say that time. I wish they would have kept Variable, but I really think that was a good team. They had Variable, but I think that's a very good team. Their whole division's good. The whole conference is good. We're talking about 13, 14 teams that can realistically make the playoffs. But who can? The Patriots, and then name another team.
I'll say.
Not the Titans.
I'll go on a limb and say this. I think the Texans are going to be representing the AFC in the Super Bowl.
Very possible. That offense is going to be very hard to stop. Like I said, I'd say about 10 wins for the Jaguars. Where that ends up, who knows? Because 10 wins could miss the playoffs in the AFC. So who knows where that ends up? But we'll go 10 wins.
I think that's fair enough. But man, I think anything else we want to say before we close this pod out?
Go Dogs. We're going to win the national championship this year.
Go Knowles.
They're back.
August 24th. Tune in for the 9th college football game in Ireland in 34 years. Knowles Nation's going to win. Okay.
It'll be a good game against Georgia Tech, Florida State. I'm very excited for that. I'm so happy college football is back. I'm so happy football is back. It has been so awesome.
I feel like it's been so long.
Watching these preseason games, man, and playing the new NCAA has got me so excited for the new college football season, man.
Hey, maybe after this I'll beat you in NCAA again.
Yeah, okay.
Alrighty, well, this has been Ashton Starnes on the Take podcast.
ABS Sports.
Go follow him on Instagram. I'll put it in the bio. But I'm, of course, your host, Jackson Burleson. This has been another episode of The Take, and I will see you guys next week in another episode. Peace out.
Thank you.
Talk to me, baby. Talk to me nice. I'm from another world, baby, yeah. Broadway paradise. They think I'm way too cold, cause I put my heart up.